A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for watching UBC TV this morning. This is Good Morning Uganda. If you started the show with us, thank you so much. And if you're just joining in, you're welcome. And thank you for joining and choosing to watch UBC TV this morning. My name is Julie F. Nantaba. Good morning, Uganda. It is. It's time for The Real. And this morning we are looking at the World Meteorology Day 2026. But away from the day, what is even meteorology? As it is, for many, it might be meteorology, which is not the same thing. As Robert had wondered, are they telling us about the weather? Not really, but we also want to understand what exactly are we here to discuss. Now in studio with me is Letitia Namubiru, who is the manager legal meteorology at UNBS, and Deos Mubangizi, who is the manager National Meteorology Laboratories, UNBS. Now be part of the conversation. 0709602592. And when we talk about meteorology, many of us will relate having to go to shops and the weighing scales are not exactly weighing. Things like that. I think these are things we ought to learn about and learn from and be better in what we receive and what we demand when receiving services at the end of the day. A very good morning to you, Letitia.
Good morning, Julie. Good morning to all our viewers. Thanks for hosting us.
A pleasure having you indeed. Deos, a very good morning, sir.
Good morning, host and the listeners and the viewers.
All right, a pleasure having you, and I'll start with Letitia. UNBS sounds common. It's a thing we use on our lips a lot as UNBS, but do we understand it? So please do care to tell us what UNBS is and its mandate.
Thank you so much, Julie. UNBS is about Uganda National Bureau of Standards. UNBS is that government agency that is responsible for standardization, quality assurance, metrology, and testing. We get our mandate from the Ugandan law, Chapter 210, which is the UNBS Act, as well as the Weights and Measures Act, which is in Chapter 84 of the Ugandan law. When you talk about standardization, quality assurance, metrology, and testing, we have different departments in UNBS. Standards Department, which is the secretariat as well as the custodian of standards for all products that are traded on the Ugandan market. Quality assurance has three main functions. Imports inspection, that is responsible for regulation of all imports that come into the country, as well as assuring that only quality products are supplied and imported onto the Ugandan market. We also have the certification department that issues the Q mark on all locally manufactured goods in Uganda, and the market surveillance department that removes any substandard products which could be locally manufactured or the few that trickle into the country through unmanned borders, as well as foul play. Market surveillance does that major function of ensuring that all those substandard products are removed from the Ugandan market. The other function is about testing. UNBS has several testing laboratories which are located in Boyogere. Important and critical to all are the food safety laboratories that mainly look at the chemistry and microbiology laboratories that test food products, as well as other non-food products items that could be present on the Ugandan market. They also have a materials lab as well as an engineering lab. What is very special about our testing labs is that all of them are accredited, and when they issue you with a test report, you're free to trade at national level, regional level, as well as international level. What is most important for us today is metrology, the science of measurement. And I believe this discussion is going to delve deeply into that science of measurement called metrology. We are here today to celebrate the World Meteorology Day, and I'm sure we shall have deep discussions on what metrology is about.
Surely, indeed. Thank you for that preamble, Letitia. And indeed, today, the 20th of May, in case you didn't know, as Letitia has aired it out, it's a World Meteorology Day 2026, and it is to celebrate the international system of units. But indeed, I can't speak any better. Clearly, the experts have the best appropriate language to speak into this matter and help us understand it. So be part of the conversation. 0709602592. Share your opinion, share your experience, share that question as the experts are here to speak into it. And this World Meteorology Day is standing on building trust in policy making, meteorology in trade industry, and consumer protection. Now, coming to you, Mubangizi, looking at UNBS and its mandate, how is it able to implement the mandate? Letitia has talked about the cube mark, which many of us recognize. Right now, I'm even seeing it on the menu of the products I buy, but we hear stories like some of it is even faked. Okay. But how is UNBS able to implement this?
Thank you so much. Actually, the information that I've been given already points to the way UNBS implements its mandate of ensuring quality of our products and also ensuring accuracy of measurements. When you talk of metrology, which is the science of measurements, we are talking of when you are doing any measurement, whether it is in your weighing scale in the shops, whether it is in the hospital they are checking your temperature, whether it is in the factory they are checking the quantity of things they are using, measurements play what I call a foundation role. Now, when the measurements form the foundation role, then the producers and manufacturers base on it to make quality products. So how does UNBS ensure that? UNBS starts by coordinating or mobilizing knowledgeable people, experts, to develop standards for the products that we use. And sometimes people ask, what is a standard? Because when you use too much English and people start asking you, why are you telling me what I don't understand? A standard is just simply a description of a good thing. A good, safe, comfortable, compatible thing. So when you talk of a standard for food, you are saying that food is safe for you to eat, it cannot make you sick, it doesn't have poisonous ingredients, doesn't have bacteria. That's a description of the product. That's a standard. When you are checking that standard, you must make sure that if you are using a laboratory or you are using inspection facilities, that you are doing them accurately. When you are checking that this is a kilogram, make sure it is actually a kilogram. When you are measuring the length of an iron sheet, make sure you are using a meter, which is a meter, not a fake meter. So that is the responsibility of UNBS.
Right.
So under UNBS, when we are doing our work, we go to the field, we go to factories, we are based at the borders to check the quality of goods, and we have machines which check the quality and the accuracy of measurements. As I speak now, UNBS has the highest accuracy equipment in the country. If you want to find out the most accurate kilogram in the country, it's at UNBS. If you want the most accurate meter length, it's at UNBS. When somebody is checking temperature, the most accurate machine for checking temperature or pressure or volume is at UNBS. What do we do with that? We use those accurate equipment to check and calibrate and verify the other measurements which are used in the market, in the industry, in the health, and everywhere. So the importance that those accurate equipment must be kept accurate and at international level, so that all the measurements in Uganda are made accurate. Then when you are a manufacturer, you produce quality goods. When you are a trader, you weigh the right sugar and the right cement and the right products that you are selling. So that's how UNBS does its mandate, to protect you, the consumer, to promote the good manufacturers, to facilitate traders, importers, and the shops, so that we grow our economy together and also have good, healthy, and safe life.
All right, and in that same spirit, I'd like for you to paint a picture, staying with you, Mubangizi. For an ordinary Ugandan, to them this sounds like a lot of English, and when they go to the shops, maybe it might not apply. But from your expertise and the work that you do, why do you think an ordinary Ugandan should care about meteorology?
Now, an ordinary Ugandan actually passes through meteorology every day, but they don't understand. We said meteorology is about measurements, and that's why today is World Meteorology Day. When I was coming here, I was rushing, checking my watch. Am I not late? They told me it's starting at 7, but now it is already 6. That's the measurement of time. When you are going to the shop to buy your meat, you want to enjoy your meat that weekend. You say, I want to buy 2 kilos for my children. If they give you 1.5 kilos, they will have cheated you.
True.
And UNBS wants to make sure they don't cheat you. So we have been going to those shops and made sure we check that minzani, and we put a sticker there showing that this minzani has been checked and is accurate. So when you are going to buy your meat, check that person. Does your minzani have a sticker of UNBS? If it is not there, don't buy.
How
if
many
you want to buy fuel, you are in your car and you know how expensive fuel is these days?
Very.
If you want to buy a liter of fuel, you want to buy a liter of fuel. So when you went to go to the petrol station, check, is there a sticker of UNBS showing that this pump here has been checked and it's actually assured. And when I buy a liter, I'm buying a liter. That's how UNBS ensures that quality is known by the common person and the measurement accuracy. So use those things that we put on those equipment to help you understand that at least you are being protected. But if you find somebody selling those things and those stickers are not there, please get to UNBS and complain, because we want to stop that cheating if it is happening.
Very interesting. I'm looking at all the cases of empty fuel, where you go to receive fuel and you realize that your fuel gauge is still warning, and yet you've paid the money. Who knew that even a scale is something that you need to look at to see if this shopkeeper's scale has a UNBS sticker? Be part of the conversation on this World Metrology Day, looking at building trust in policy making, metrology in trade, industry and consumer protection. 0709 602 592 is the WhatsApp number for you to engage and be part of the conversation. Letitia, let's look at legal metrology, because it's the department that you lead. What exactly does legal metrology look like?
As we speak about metrology, there are two distinct parts of metrology. One called scientific and industrial metrology, and the other is legal metrology. Scientific and industrial metrology focuses on calibration, voluntary calibration of all equipment. Equipment that are used in the health sector to measure pressure. You look at thermometers, you look at pressure gauges. Weighing scales that are used in industrial manufacturing processes are calibrated. But when you speak about legal metrology, the word is legal. It means we are mandated by the law. So our business as legal metrologists is to make sure that we comply with the law through metrological supervision of all regulated equipment, utilities and prepackages. I wish to simplify this in a manner to say that, for example, each and every time you go out to buy tomatoes, meat, rice or posho in any market space, when you walk into a supermarket, there's a weighing scale at the till. Our business as legal metrology is to ensure that that weighing scale that you're going to use for trade gives you accurate, reliable, consistent and trustworthy measurement data. We make sure that equipment does not cheat the traders the worth of the money they have paid for any products, but similarly, that equipment should not give more than what has been paid for, so that our traders are thrown out of business. So under legal metrology, we look at all weighing scales in the market: spring balances, platform scales, counter machines, any weighing scale. When you're going to the airport, you've seen people weighing, for example, cargo when they're flying out of the country. We go there and we verify that equipment to make sure that when they tell you you have to pay this amount of money for your excess baggage, that particular equipment that gives you the weight of that baggage is accurate. We go out and look at all fuel dispensers installed in the country by the Ministry of Energy to make sure that when you pay for 1 liter of fuel, you get exactly that. We go to all manufacturing premises in the country, all manufacturers, to ensure that when, for example, someone declares that this package has 10 kilograms of posho, you receive exactly 10 kilograms of posho and nothing less. That's how important legal metrology is to a day-to-day person, any Ugandan who is living within the country. So the question is, besides that, what else do we look at? You know that Uganda is a landlocked country, and most of the oil and fuel that we use in the country is imported. So at the entry point, we look at all the fuel trucks as well as the rail wagons that bring fuel into the country to ensure that they carry the right volume of fuel from the entry point to the petrol stations where that fuel is sold. We look at the underground tanks, which are called static tanks, at a fuel petrol station to ensure that they carry the right volume, accurate, so that the business owner is not cheated before the Uganda goes to buy fuel from a fuel dispenser. Our mandate also extends to the electricity sector. We've had challenges in the past saying, I've just placed my money on this phone, I bought Yaka, have the units easily expired? We verify all the electricity meters that come into the country before they get onto the national grid to ensure that when you pay a given amount of money to buy certain amperes of electricity, you receive exactly the same. We even go out to the field to monitor electricity meters that have been installed onto the national grid, that in the event that you have a complaint related to how fast your electricity is moving, you can always call us in service verification and justify whether the functionality of the meter is still accurate to give you reliable measurements. There's a lot that we do under legal metrology. I'll tell you, when you go to, for example, a fuel station, you want to adjust the pressure in your tires. We are the ones who verify the pressure gauges to ensure that you get the right pressure for your tires so that you do not cause any accident on the road because the tires have burst. Our application metrology is part of our day-to-day life, and legal metrology is supposed to just make sure that you comply to the law and have all equipment that are used in the trade area meet standard specifications and requirements, and that way we end up fostering trade as well as protecting consumers from any harm that can come from using uncalibrated equipment.
Very well indeed, and indeed that emphasizes the theme for this year's World Metrology Day 2026, which is today, the 20th of May, building trust in policy making, metrology in trade industry and consumer protection. Now, the opinion, that you have to share to 0709602592 or onto our X handle QBCTV Uganda. In your opinion, has the government done enough to create public awareness about metrology? Do share what you think. Has the government done enough to create public awareness about metrology? What do you think? 0709602592. Send a WhatsApp message or head into our X handle at QBCTV Uganda. The hashtag is UBCGMU. Some of the comments coming through. Good morning, Uganda. Metrology being a standard way of measuring things was wrongly applied. Okay. I think I'm not supposed to. Edson Mohanji, let's focus. Let's just focus. We're not discussing Parliament here. Why is Dunhill cigarettes not certified by UNBS? Interesting. Is this something you can speak into? A particular type of cigarette called, I think, Dunhill. This the author here says why they are not certified by UNBS. Dunhill cigarettes. That's the question from a viewer who says why then. Is it possible that this product is in Uganda?
We'll talk about it along the way.
All right. But be part of the conversation and share your opinion. Now, Letitia said something. She used the word calibration.
Yes.
Sounds like as if it's a day-to-day term, but explain to a viewer in layman language, what exactly is calibration?
Thank you so much, our moderator. Like you first said, I think we use too much English and people sometimes don't understand us.
Right.
So I wanted to simplify the English a little bit. Now, when somebody tells you metrology, like we said, we are actually talking about measurement. You are measuring time, you are measuring length, you are measuring weight. That's metrology. Now, when you talk of calibration, we are talking of the equipment you are using to measure. Is it measuring accurately or is it measuring falsely? Now, the process of checking an equipment to confirm whether it is measuring accurately, and when found not to be accurate, adjusting it and restoring its accuracy is what we call calibration. In our English, we have so many words which can fill a page to describe it, but in simple terms, we are saying you have a weighing scale, you have been using it for a year, and as you used it, dust was entering it, it was even having what you call wear and tear, and then its accuracy drifted. Instead of weighing 1 kilogram as 1 kilogram, it is saying it is 950 grams. So what we do is we get that scale again, adjust it, put our standard, which is exactly 1 kilo, and ensure that that scale is weighing 1 kilo as 1 kilo. That is calibration. If you have, you know the pressure gauges we use in hospitals to check our pressure?
Right.
Now, there are even dangers that are caused by lack of accuracy. Somebody can measure your pressure and say it is too low when it is actually okay, or you say it's too high when there is no problem. When they say it is too high, and they start giving you medicine of pressure, which actually is dangerous to when you are normal, because they used an equipment which was not calibrated. So what to do is you get that pressure gauge, we put it in our high accuracy pressure machine, and we adjust it and make sure that when it is telling you this is 150 over 90, it is exactly 150 over 90, not 120 over 90.
Who does the adjusting? UNBS?
UNBS.
Strictly?
Yes. Why UNBS does that is because, like I said, UNBS has the highest accuracy measuring equipment in the country. In terms of whether you want to measure weight, whether you want to measure pressure, temperature, volume, everything, UNBS has the highest accuracy. And where we keep those equipment, we even don't allow more than 2-3 people to enter there because it will affect the accuracy. We have very strict conditions where we keep those high accuracy equipment. So when you have your machine which is measuring something for you in manufacturing or in health or in other sectors, aviation, in transport, infrastructure, you bring it and we put it in with our high accuracy machines, we restore the accuracy, and that's what we call calibration. Now by law, UNBS is required to be the driver of the national measurement system of Uganda. Actually, we are the National Metrology Institute. When you go to other countries, they call us the National Metrology Institute. What is our other role? To make sure that Uganda's measurements are internationally traceable. What do I mean by that? That a kilogram in Uganda is the same as a kilogram in Kenya, the same as a kilogram in Japan, the same as a kilogram in UK. A meter in Uganda should be the same as a meter in Rwanda, the same as a meter in UK. So how do we do that? At international level, we collaborate with other metrology institutes, and then we get what I would call like one sample to be measured. I measure it. After measuring and getting results, I send it to Kenya, they measure it. From there, Kenya can send it to Japan or China, they measure it. Then when we are like 6 countries and we have measured that unit, we sit and meet and say, did we get the same results? If we got the same results, then that is international traceability. If one got wrong results so different, then you find out where is your problem. Wow. Can you correct it? They do the correction. Once they do, they measure again. When they get the right measurement, then you know you are all at par. We call that inter-laboratory comparison. And it makes the global measurements the same, because we are making sure that what we measure here in Uganda is what is measured in Europe, is what is measured in America. And that is the role of UNBS in our national metrology laboratories.
Right. And when we talk about the laboratories, I want you to actually paint a picture, take us through what it looks like. But before we go there, allow me read a comment coming through from a viewer. Good morning, UBC. This is Afande Sozi Locomotive from Lira. Julie, I want to ask the guests in studio, how long do they take to renew the sticker, mostly to producers, before you find a factory when it's starting, it can give good products with the UNBS sticker, and with time they start producing bad products, but still with the UNBS sticker. And I think this will stay with you, Dels.
Yes. Thank you so much, and it's good that the viewer has brought in that question. Now, when we're doing our work combines both promotion and advisory, and also enforcement, like my colleague, Dr. Letitia has said. Now, where it is promotional or advisory or voluntary is where we say, we have a service here, come for it. Now, somebody can come and say, I want certification. And he comes and we check their factory, we check their product, and we find it is meeting standards, and we give them a chew mark. Now, once you have your chew mark, we don't want you to go there and we give you a chew mark for biscuits. After 3-4 months, the biscuits which we certified have changed the quality as substandard. How do we manage that? After certifying you, we will again come without your knowledge, and you go to the shops where you sell your products, pick samples and test them. If we find that they have changed, you will find us at your door saying, why have you changed what you are doing? We also do what we call clandestine surveillance inspections. So after we have given you our chew mark, we can just randomly just come to you. When we come to inspect you, initially we announce and you prepare and we come. But this time we come without your what? Your knowledge. So if you have changed things upside down in the factory and you find that you have now changed it, we actually stop you from manufacturing because you are abusing our process. And we tell you initially that once we certify you, make sure 24/7 you are following our procedures and our standards.
Right. Because
our certification is to protect you, to make sure you do business, but most importantly, to protect the consumers of your products. To make sure our children, when they are at school and for you at work, the biscuits they are eating and the sweets they are eating are actually meeting standards. If we don't follow you up to make sure all the time you are making good things, our children, where we are not, will be eating fake things. So it is our duty to make sure whatever is on the market is meeting standards.
Right. And in just a bit, I'd like for you to just paint a picture of what the laboratories look like. While you're preparing that, allow me go to Letitia, and we talk about verification in line with legal. How do these go hand in hand, and why is verification important?
In a lay language, we already explained this whole process of verifying equipment.
Right.
Before an equipment is verified, you have to calibrate it to make sure that it gives us accurate, reliable, consistent, and trusted measurements. However, each and every time you're using an equipment, it's going to get out of scope, and the readings are not going to be right. I'll give you an example. If you move to any sugar factory in Uganda today, there are weight bridges at the entrance that are used to measure sugarcane. If you move to tea plantations in western Uganda, you will find weight bridges at the entrance that are supposed to measure the quantity of sugarcane coming into that factory. But specifically for sugarcane factories, you'll find so many lorries at the entrance of that factory. This weight bridge is working day and night to receive the raw material into the sugar milling factory. Naturally, it needs to be verified more frequently. Now, when the whole verification process is starting, we look at the different equipment that we have to verify. The weighing scales, the weight bridges, the fuel dispensers. And because we are monitoring, this is scientific data being collected, we have monitored and come out with a frequency that is stipulated in the law, at which we are supposed to verify different equipment. For all weighing equipment, counter scales, spring balances, platforms that are being used in the trade area, we do that twice in a year. And when you attach a verification sticker, it always gives us a verification status saying we verified this equipment in January, we are coming back to re-verify it in July. But for a weight bridge, I will tell you that even the weather conditions could affect the functionality of the weight bridge because it's out there, outdoor, the rain, the mud. The frequency in the law is that a weight bridge is supposed to be verified twice in a year. But when you're carrying out verification, we always, when you're done with the whole verification process, we attach a seal. We seal that bit of the measuring equipment that a trader can use or can manipulate to cheat the consumers. So In the event that a weight bridge is not reading right, the owner of the weight bridge is going to call us. We go back, re-verify, make sure it is reading accurately, seal it off again, and attach a verification sticker to ensure that any farmer in Uganda who is growing sugarcane or tea receives the right value for their raw materials that they're supplying to these industries. Fuel dispensers too are verified twice in a year. But I want to also give you a critical sector that we verify. One of the equipment that we verify are bulk meters. If you go to the airport, there's something we call aviation meters that are supposed to load aviation fuel onto the aeroplanes. You don't want to be up there in the sky and then you have to do some emergency landing because you do not have fuel in an aeroplane. So for such critical sectors, the frequency of verification even increases basing on the data that we have obtained. Electricity meters, we have verified them in the lab, like I said, but when we go out in the field, we know some models that may not be performing well. So we always monitor those specific models at a higher frequency to ensure that the utility companies are not cheated and the Ugandans too are not cheated as they trade over the electricity that they have bought. So that is how important verification is.
A lot to chew on. A lot to chew on, and in line with the calibration, I'm reminded of an experience. I went to a hospital where they gave me the wrong height. And the doctor wondered, but you're not that short. He had to go back to correct the machine to realign and give me the right results of my height. But these are very important matters. But in your opinion, has the government done enough to create public awareness about metrology? What do you think, especially as we celebrate World Metrology Day 2026, which is on the theme of building trust in policy making, metrology in trade industry, and consumer protection? Now, Deos, let's look at the laboratories. What do the metrology laboratories look like? What, if in case you're to give one a mental trip, what do they look like? What is needed? How you mentioned that not everyone enters there. Yes, paint us a picture.
Now, a metrology laboratory is basically that laboratory which is meant to calibrate the measuring equipment of other users. The users are in all sectors. So the metrology laboratory has equipment, like I said, of the highest accuracy. So you use the highest accuracy to calibrate the lower, the middle and lower accuracies. So the equipment used there, the high accuracy we are talking about means they are very sensitive. If you are saying that you want to weigh a kilogram, the laboratory has accuracy that even goes to milligrams. So you are talking of a kilogram. But when that laboratory is measuring, they have a machine which can measure down to a gram and down to a milligram. So that any small error on your equipment, it can be detected. And we are measuring in many areas. The most common, of course, people know is weight. But we do pressure, like I said, we do temperature, we do even this chemistry. Those who have done some chemistry, the measurements of like pH, measurement of dissolved solids, those who use blood. Do you know that testing your blood in the hospital, the machine that tests that blood are also calibrated. So we do measurement in all sectors that affect our daily life, our economy, our health. And what we do is we get that equipment, take it in our laboratory, use that high accuracy equipment of ours to adjust yours and give it back to you when it is measuring now in the accuracy way it's supposed to measure. And of course, accuracies also have different categories. I can give you a simple example of usability. Weight, we are talking of measuring a mizan. Now, a simple weighing scale, where you can be used to weigh your meat. My colleague have talked about a weigh bridge that weighs sugarcane at the factory. Now, the weigh bridge is measuring in tons. Tons, which means thousands of kilograms. But the one in the shop, which is weighing meat, is only weighing in kilograms. Now, while they can all be accurate, but you cannot weigh a kilo of meat on a weigh bridge.
True.
That is not the compatibility we are talking about. Sensitivity of measurements matter. The one who is measuring sugar and rice in the shop is different from the one who is in a manufacturing enterprise measuring the ingredients. For instance, if somebody is making medicine and is measuring the medical ingredient in the medicine, their accuracy must be very high. Because if you make a simple error, the medicine you are making, if it has less ingredient, it will not cure.
Right.
If it has high ingredients, it may even become poisonous. So our standards in the calibration laboratories or metrology laboratories of UNBS have the higher accuracy equipment that can check for those who are doing medicine, those who are manufacturing food, those who are manufacturing building materials, and then as well as those who are doing simple things like weighing in shops and weighing maybe sugar cane or sugar in whatever.
Do home skills apply as well?
Yes, so we can also check those ones. So we are mandated to cover all of those sectors because in the country we are the responsible people for accuracy of measurements. However, we are also lucky that there are some other laboratories that do the work using our traceable standards. When you talk of traceable standards, we call it like a chain of calibration. The most accurate, which is ours, calibrates the second, and the second calibrates the third. So there are some private and government laboratories which have the middle part. We have a lab in the Ministry of Health which calibrates for some health equipment. We have some private labs which calibrate for some industries. But their traceability is to the other highest one at UNBS, which calibrates their standards which they use.
Right.
So that is how the level of the laboratories work to ensure accuracy.
Let's get into some of the comments as we begin to wrap the conversation. Good morning, UBC. Osire Francis here. Good morning, Sister Julie and the two distinguished visitors. I appreciate the work you offer to Ugandans. And as far as measurements are concerned, I may ask you to extend your services to villages. Some traders are using wrong weighing stones. Osire John Francis from Chaliwajala in Namugongo. And someone else comes through, Uncle Joe, who says, UNBS, you do a good job. Thank you very much. But the process of certification delays. I have a question about these drugs that have totally destroyed our youths. Who verifies them? Things like Mijaj, Kuba, the Warajis from villages. Who verifies them? And in line with verification, I think I'll pose this to you, Dr. Letitia.
Thank you, Julie. I want to agree with the comments that we have received online. We do our part as legal metrology to ensure that all weighing equipment are verified. But the challenge in the marketplace is that, for example, if you went to buy meat, you'll find that someone has weights that have been verified by UNBS. They have a UNBS sticker. And when we leave that premise, those weights are put aside. They have their own underweights. What do I mean? That if, for example, a given weight is supposed to give you 1 kilogram of meat, traders go out there and scrupulously manufacture weights that are going to give you probably 950 grams, so they can save 50 grams on each and every kilogram of meat that they are going to sell. That is on the side of weights. We've also received complaints about people receiving air instead of receiving fuel that they have paid for. What have we done as UNBS? The first bit of it is verification, where we request everybody with a weighing scale to submit it for verification voluntarily. The other thing that we do as UNBS is that we carry out an abrupt inspection. When you're done with the voluntary part, we carry out an abrupt inspection across the entire country to look out for all those weighing scales that were not submitted voluntary for verification. However, the other third thing that I would want to speak into is vigilance for all consumers on the Ugandan market. Uganda is a big country with so many weighing equipment, about 13,500 equipment that are known on the Ugandan market. I would implore all Ugandan consumers to buy from only people or traders that have weighing equipment, that have UNBS seals, as well as verification stickers. If someone is picking a weight, like a stone, to put it on a weighing scale, look out for that sticker to ensure that that weight is actually engraved with a UNBS mark. If it is not engraved, it is a substandard weight that is intended to cheat you. But last and most important of all is that any time you think you have been cheated, kindly call us on our toll-free number 0800 133 133. We will have a standby team that is willing to move to wherever you are in Uganda, because we have 5 regional offices away from the main office that is located in Boyogere, where we'll be able to send our staff to come to your location and be able to help resolve the complaint that you have raised. Feel free to contact us. We are paid to serve you.
Right. And as we're going to close this, let me come to you, Deos. This year, World Metrology Day 2026. How is UNBS celebrating it and including Ugandans to be part of the celebration?
Yeah, today is the World Metrology Day. This activity started in 1875.
Wow.
When a number of countries came together and decided that let us have the same measurements around around the world. And Uganda joined in the 1960s and became part of the World Metrology, where our meter, our kilogram is the same as the meter and the kilogram in the other parts of the world. So because of that, now when we celebrate World Metrology Day, we have realized that speaking, it is a problem of scientists. Talking to ourselves in our labs, talking to our colleagues just next door does not help, because the people outside there who want our service, who want to know about measurements, are not hearing. So what we decided was, let's at least have this interaction with you on TV, with our good host here. We are also going to have another interaction with key stakeholders at Hotel Africana during the day. And we are also opening our social media platforms, on Twitter, on the other ones, for you to communicate to us. We give you answers, but also suggest to you how you can get UNBS services in measurements, accuracies, in quality standards, and in all the activities that UNBS does. What we want is to show that UNBS is not only protecting consumers, but also promoting business. I want you to understand that. We want us as consumers, all of us, we are protected by UNBS. But we also want to promote businesses, so that when you start a business, you grow, you produce quality products, people consume that product and they are safe, and the economy will grow. We have decided to have it 10-fold growth in the next 40 years. And UNBS is one of the top government institutions that is promoting that 10-fold growth of government, promoting business and also protecting consumers.
All right, thank you very much. Our time is fast spent, but I will appreciate Letitia Namubiru, who is the manager legal metrology at UNBS, alongside Deos Mobangizi, who is the manager national metrology laboratories at the UNBS. Thank you very much for speaking with us this morning and educating Ugandans on metrology. I believe you've learned quite a lot from that conversation, and the next shop you're visiting today, make sure that you look out for that UNBS sticker to ensure you that that scale is actually giving you the right results and the right measurements. Now, just a reminder that the Ministry of Health has high-risk spreading Ebola virus districts that it has pointed out, that is those that could be of danger and at a high-risk districts along the Uganda-DRC borderline, identified as high-risk Ebola districts, which include, and you have to pay heed to, as displayed on the screen, which include Western Uganda, Kasese, Bundibujo, and Toroko, Kanungu, Kisoro, Rubirizi on there representing Western Uganda and Bunyagavu, as well as Kabarole, Fort Portal on there, Kamwenge, Isinjiro, Chenjojo. All these are districts that are at high risk. West Nile being represented by Nebi, Zombo, Pakwach on there, Burisa, Lamuo on there, as well as Central Urban Centers, Kampala, Wakiso being high-risk districts, and others could include Hoima, Chiriandongo, as well as indeed those high-risk Ebola districts that have been pointed out by the Ministry of Health. So stay alert and stay on the lookout. Wash your hands regularly with soap or use a sanitizer to make sure that at least you're joining the effort to fight this, and avoid unnecessary physical contact. And also report suspected symptoms immediately to health authorities, and avoid contact with sick persons or bodies of the deceased. Also report, maintain cleanliness in your homes, places of work and public spaces. Those are some of the standard operating procedures that you could follow, and make sure that we are fighting against this collectively. That brings us to the end of today's conversation. Up next is the agenda in just a bit. Good morning.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Genshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules. Plant extract, scientific ratio. Take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning. Eat twice a day. Don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Genshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by...
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
My question is, what is the difference between rental tax and income tax? How comes I'm paying both taxes on my own premises? If you want to have a tin, but you are not making any income from your business, you should take on the obligation to continue filing your nil return.
General, to invest in taxation. When people understand taxes and they know the importance of taxes and they know the fair assessment of these taxes they're supposed to pay, I think everybody will embrace taxation.
As banning groupage cargo, clearance protects small traders who cannot afford to import full container loads individually and rely on consolidation to remain competitive. Cargo to come in groupage is consolidation, it's legitimate, and we can't ban it. What we have banned, or what we have stopped, is the use of container leaders. Now, Fiona, the good news I have for you is that among the new tax proposals,
Now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887 and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Booza Commissioner.
It's finally here, and you're all invited. This Thursday, the 7th of May, 2026, is the grand launch of UBC Totore Radio 90 FM, based in Moroto, Karamoja. Come, be part of this great milestone. The launch begins at 8 a.m. in Moroto Town, Karamoja. Come and enjoy the vibe of UBC Totore 90 FM. Ninayoka.
I know what Uganda needs. When General Caleb Akantwanaho retired, Salim Saleh presented his long, detailed analysis of Uganda's economy and structured recommendations for improvement in the form of the Third National Development Plan, NDP-3, to President Museveni. He laid out the kinds of problems that many Ugandans feel every day, but rarely see captured in one place. He was doing what he has done for years, breaking down the problems holding back ordinary Ugandans. He talked about distortions in factors of production, such as land conflicts that choke investment, the high cost of finance for ordinary people, the shortage of skills among youth, the slow pace of value addition, and the gap between production in the villages and the factories in industrial parks. It was the kind of diagnosis a technocrat offers when trying to get a country unstuck. The president's reply was striking in its simplicity. I know what Uganda needs. At first, to others, it might have sounded almost dismissive. But when placed in the context of 40 years of state rebuilding, economic reform, and political stability, it revealed something deeper. A belief that Uganda's path to transformation has been consistent, deliberate, and informed by lived experience rather than theory. His confidence is not based on guesswork. It's based on the journey already traveled. He always stresses that any serious revolutionary discussion about the economy of Uganda, or indeed much of Africa, should include the following questions. 1. What was the economy of Uganda like in 1900, at the dawn of colonialism? 2. What was the economy of Uganda like in 1962, at the sunset of colonialism? 3. How and what was the magnitude of the collapse of the Ugandan economy between 1971 and 1986?